And today, you're just on time for Uongozi Prime. Today, we're going to do it a little bit different because we're going to focus our attention on the second Global Disability Summit that will be happening, of course, this year. And we'll be joined much later by our panelists who are coming from different sectors of course, trying to streamline the disability and championing the agenda in Africa and the entire world. You may remember the first Global Disability Summit happened in the UK in 2018, and also we had a Kenyan delegation heading there. This one will be in Ghana, and of course we shall be getting much more details on this later in the course of the program. So I look forward to discussing this because this has been a big agenda, especially looking at special interest groups, even in the political arena right now, that they're coming up with their manifestos as well. What is happening on that particular angle? Are they also focusing in terms of giving fair nominations to people who are other able within parties, as it were? And even looking at the charters in Africa and the human rights as well, are we primarily focusing and giving much premium to this particular group, the special interest group as well? This is what we're going to be talking about much later in the course of the program at around 7:15. And I look forward to you also engaging with me and driving the show with me. You can do that as well on Twitter. Head over to our social. Our Twitter handle is at KTN News KE. Also, you can hit me at Dibala Aine. You can use the hashtag Morning Prime to also peg your thoughts as well. So let's get engaging. But before we do that, let's see what is fresh off the press this morning. Right, ready or not, here I come. You can hide. I have the Standard for you, and this is a bold paper that is headlining this particular story for you. Why Wanjigi could spoil Raila's party. Why Wanjigi could spoil Raila's party. Of course, this is the election season, and this is what most of your headlines are going to carry as well. I know you'll have a bellyful of elections headlines as well, so you might want just to put up with that until we get done with election. This is what is on the front page of a daily, not the Standard today. Shaky friendship. The once steadfast relationship between Jimmy Wanjigi and Raila Odinga is going through a rough patch. Wanjigi opens up on his battles with the state and why he is challenging an ODM conference. You have this story on page 4 and 5 of the Standard. I can just give you a snippet of what they're saying, but here is a bite of what we have from Wanjigi saying, quote unquote, when did Raila become ODM presidential candidate? That is a probing question he's asking. When did it happen that it has excluded all of us who are interested in this? This is what Jimmy Wanjigi is wondering. And of course, this also just pretend to show what is really happening in ODM right now, the fissures that are developing with the interest also of Wanjigi as a presidential candidate. So you can read all the details of this on page 4 and 5, and I can just give you a snippet of what they're saying there on page 4 and 5 so that just it can whet your appetite to just read this, because this is bound also to bring a lot of political parties intrigues in the ODM faction. Businessman Wanjigi is a master of charm. For a man who has spent most of his life striking business deals worth billions of shillings, he's not a novice in winning you to his side. Are you the reporter? Of course, this is Judah Ben-Huri is talking to the reporter of the Standard. He singles me out from my crew. He had met earlier. Your name? Nice to meet you, says Wanjigi with a sharp smile, exposing a set of striking white teeth that makes you feel at ease. He does not have a domineering presence. The businessman is easy with words, speaking as if he's gently passing fragile matter from his mouth. Right, you can read the rest of the details there. I think Judah Ben-Hur has done a sterling job, of course, of spicing up this particular interview. His big spread there on page 4 and 5 of the Standard today. All right, let's head back to the front page. I show you what we still have there. Remember also, Standard yesterday launched the East African Safari Classic Rally. We are the media partner. This happened in Naivasha, is ongoing for the next, of course, 9 days, counting yesterday. And you can see here the heat, sweat and dust as Safari Classic starts. King of Drifts Ken Block clocked 2 hours, 35 minutes, 52 seconds and 7 milliseconds to, of course, that is a bit tarnished there. Let me try and see what it's saying. For me, it's not very clear, so that I can read correctly what it says here. I don't want to mislead you. This is a standard for you, and of course, as I mentioned, Patrick Sandel, he's in action here during the East African Safari Classic Rally at Kesetan, Kiptagich Road in Sacho Baringo County yesterday. The dust is up. People now are really gagging for this particular title, and you can read the rest of the details inside the standard. Well fleshed out for you on page 42, 43 and 44 of the standard. And as I mentioned, I just want to whip up that for you, what it's, so that you can actually just see it clearly. You have it on there still. The standard for you. And it says, yeah, King of Drifts, that is Ken Block, ended 2 hours, 35 minutes, 52 seconds and 7 milliseconds to take an overnight lead as the 10th edition of the East African Safari Classic Rally revved off in Naivasha yesterday morning. And as I've mentioned, you can follow the story, a spread of it from 42, 43 and 44 of the standard this morning. Let's have it up back so that we can see also what we have as a sidebar story there. Raila will be a puppet, says DP. Raila will be a puppet. This is what Deputy President William Ruto is saying. Deputy President says if elected, ODM leader Raila Odinga will be controlled by some selfish individuals to safeguard their interest. And that story, you can have it on page 6 of the Standard today. Of course, we shall give you a snippet of that also in our bulletin as well. Charles Keter's entry spices up Kericho race. Former devolution cabinet secretary has started the Kericho governorship contest to succeed Paul Chepkwony, the county chief who is serving his final term. And you have his story on page 22 of the Standard this morning as well. I flip up, or not flipping, but let me just scroll up there to show you what we have on the teaser. Talk that stopped Uhuru men's exit. Talks that stopped Uhuru men's exit. People wondering, why is Ukuri Yatani and Peter Munya not really hanging their boots so far, or their gloves, as far as the cabinet secretary's seat is concerned? Being a civil servants, they are supposed to actually, since they had shown interest in running for various seats, then to have resigned. But we see they rode back on that, and they continue. Ukuri Yatani saying that he's supporting the president on this transition, especially in leaving a family his legacy on. And this story is on page 6 of the Standard. I just want to give you the reasons, maybe here, just a snippet, and then you can buy the paper. Why men did not resign to plunge, why Uhuru's men did not resign to plunge into politics. Yatani, Munya and Kagwe shelved political ambitions. Also, Treasury, Agriculture and Health CSS are key in securing Uhuru's legacy. This is what they say. The much anticipated volcano triggered by some cabinet secretaries and other state officers that at one point appeared likely to cripple President Kenyatta's government has ended in anti-climax. Yesterday, the dust of mass resignations from the cabinet began to settle. It emerged that a select group of key cogs in the government had decided to shelve their political ambitions for the smooth running of operations ahead of the August 9th elections. I won't give you the reason so that you can actually get a copy of the Standard, and that is what we have there on the page 6 of the Standard today. Back on the front page of the Standard, let's see what the teaser has for you as well. Baba, the artist, that is Odinga's new anthem. This is on page 10 of the Standard. And also we have today's Fury, Tell Affair. right, let me show you what now we have on the front page of the Daily Nation. This is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Daily Nation today. 4 in 10 Kenyans can't pay house rent. Right, that is a jarring headline there. How Kenyans are suffering. 4 in 10 Kenyans can't pay house rent. And the flag reads, COVID-19 slide to poverty is the highest in history. This is the highest in history. A new economic report by Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis shows that while only 6.6% of Kenyans could afford to pay their rent at all before the outbreak of the pandemic, this number has jumped more than 5 times to 37.5% during the pandemic. That is a huge shoot from 6.6% to 37.5%. And we have the breakdown here. 6.2 million. That is the number of Kenyans who have fallen into poverty amid mass jobless losses and salary cuts that have left households struggling to pay for basic needs such as rent, food, and other utilities in single largest slide into poverty in Kenya's history. Also, 72.8%. This is to underline the severity of a mass slide into poverty. The inability to pay rent comes even as 72.8% of Kenyans pay rent of just 5,000 shillings per month, while just 3.6% pay above 10,000 shillings. That is a stark reality, and that report you can download it from the KIPRA's website, where they have the full details. That is Economic Outlook of 2021 report from KIPRA. Still on the front page of the Daily Nation. State to pay for teachers on training program. Teachers will always sigh with relief following revelations that the government will meet the cost of the controversial teachers' professional development training that was introduced by the employer last year. The nation has learned that 2 billion shillings has been factored into 2021-2022 supplementary budget. If approved by MPs, it will take the full burden of teachers' shoulders. But what do you expect? You come up with a CBC, you want the teachers to shoulder this burden to train themselves. I think it's the honors of the government to do that, because they, of course, want to see it being steamrolled seamlessly and shaking into place without any hitches. And of course, the teachers may come up and say, oh, we didn't have that particular stash of money to try and also upgrade ourselves and to get intimately familiar with the curriculum, as it were. So this should not be surprising to us that the government is shouldering this. This is what they are supposed to be doing. And you can follow the story on the back page of the Daily Nation. I didn't read out for you the way out on what KIPRA is saying. KIPRA has singled out an accelerated rollout of vaccines as a major opportunity to boost economic growth this year, as it will enable the government to lift the remaining COVID-19 containment measures that continue to limit trade. And this is where you urged, if you're not really jabbed, if you're not vaccinated, right, we are the people maybe who also blocking the way of us getting back to normalcy, as it were, since we can't go really back there. This pandemic is bound to be with us, and as we'll show you much later. Also, the World Health Organization also is giving us a sigh of relief, as it were, because they're saying now even Africa is beginning to tame the COVID-19 pandemic. It's bringing it under control, and we might really graduate from a pandemic, not really graduate, yes, we might really come down from a pandemic to being endemic, all right, that we can contain it within nations, as it were. The infections rates are going, down and down, and this is a good sign that, yes, even as KIPRA is saying, come on, if you've not been vaccinated, this is a moment to do it, so that we try and uplift other Kenyans who are in the doldrums as far as the pandemic is concerned. Most of us, of course, we know our salary cuts came also to affect us as well. That has not been given, the resumption, as it was. So we are hoping for the resumptions. Many of you are suffering because of a pandemic, and many employers also use that as a fig leaf to try and not, of course, get back the full salaries that the employers were on before the pandemic. So there is a way out there. That is the Daily Nation for you. Let's move on and to see what we have also in other dailies. There's fashion there, but on top here on the front of the Daily Nation, Waihoro to Uhuru. She says, "Sir, we've moved on." The Kirinyaga governor, once a strong ally of the president, claims that William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance is Mount Kenya's party of choice, and that the president's Jubilee Party is dead and buried in his own backyard, right? Jubilee Party is dead and buried in his own backyard. This story is on page 5. Waigoro to Uhuru, so we've moved on. So what happened to, of course, this particular relationship they had with Uhuru Kenyatta, right? A feisty supporter of Uhuru Kenyatta, and that has she's given her, of course, a whole 180 degrees turn and gone to UDA. Things change, and you can read the rest of the details inside the Daily Nation as well. Good, let's see what we have on the front page of other dailies. We have the People Daily, and this is what is on the front page of the People Daily for you. Why Azimio is rattling ODM. Why Azimio is rattling ODM. There is internal competition. We can talk about internal party democracy that we keep on talking in our talk shows as well. Raila's party has made it clear it will not entertain any form of competition from coalition siblings in its strongholds to avoid being diminished or even swallowed. And we have various bites there from the leaders. We have Junaid Mohammed. He says, if you think you can win through another Azimio party, then your journey has ended so early. Also, we have Mutula Kilonzo Jr. here. Let me try and zoom in so that you can read those bites there. He's saying, Azimio is an amorphous unit without a party leader. The officials are not even known. We have also Nick Salat saying, with the reality of coalition politics in 2022, electoral mapping of the country is inevitable. So this is Azimio. It's an amorphous outfit. Without party leaders, the officials are not even known. So what does it portend for Azimio? Why is Azimio rattling ODM? This is what is on the front page of the People Daily. Irresistible allure of the governor's seat. Besides the billions of shillings they control, county chiefs, he says, they exercise executive authority, which enables them to make key appointments and enjoy access to the president. These are some of the faces that we can see also have resigned so far. That is immediate former CS of Energy there. Is vying for the gubernatorial seat, Kericho County. We have also immediate former CSEAC, that is Aidan Mohammed. We have also John Munish there, who's vying for Turkana County. We have Cecily Karaoke, also she's gagging for that seat of Nyandera County, the gubernatorial seat. So Sion is saying something here. He's saying, or is petitioning MPs over elite tutors, right? He's petitioning elite over elite tutors. Maybe we can just go back and see what they're saying there briefly. What is this elite tutors that he is talking about? Just to give you a snippet, this is covered on the page 2 of the People Daily this morning. I'll zoom out a bit so that I can go to the next stage. Here we are. And he says that reward teachers' qualifications. So Sion petitions House team. He says that former Nat Bose, or that is a sub-headline, former Nat Bose urges House to establish guidelines to promote who go for higher qualifications. Nominated MP Wilson Session wants the National Assembly to intervene and push for the recognition of teachers who acquire higher education qualifications. Session has petitioned the House over what he termed as refusal by Teachers Service Commission to acknowledge and the graduate and postgraduate qualifications attained by teachers in service. Read the rest of the details on page 2 of the People Daily. Muturi held IBC for clarity on MCA's fate. Right, there was a lot of ambiguity as far as the MCAs are concerned especially with the qualifications, whether they should be going for that particular seat if they don't have a degree. Let's see what he says. Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, yesterday commended the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for clearing the air on the issues of resignations of ward reps aspiring for high elective seats. Of course, this is that particular date that we know now it is in April. Muturi said he had consulted with the electoral agency and agreed with the position taken by IEBC that county assembly members do not have to resign now, but will be required to quit before presenting nominations papers. This will be happening later in April. You can read the rest of the details on that as well. And also, there was that ambiguity regarding also qualifications as far as degree is concerned. You can read the rest of the details also inside the People Daily as well. All right, people behind Moi Girls are fired to no fate on February is another story that you can follow inside the People Daily this morning as well. Right, let's move on to see what we have on the front page of the Business Daily. We buckle down to a bit of business and we see what the Business Daily is holding for us. And this is what you're waking up to, the front page of the Business Daily. CBK test market with digital currency, that is a digital Kenya shilling. This is the headlining story here. New currency will put the central bank in direct competition with commercial banks for deposits. Let's just read what Charles Moniki and Edna Mwenda are saying here, the reporters. The proposed Central Bank of Kenya digital currency will for the first time allow Kenyans to directly keep cash at the Apex Bank, placing it in the direct or indirect competition with commercial banks for deposits. The Kenya version of a central bank digital currency, CBDC, whose introduction has been under debate for the last few years, will be exchangeable on a one-to-one basis with physical cash. The rest of the details on page 4. And of course, many countries now they're going this way. China, we know also they have their own digital currency. Many debates, and Singapore as well, they're headed there. It seems everything now is gravitating towards, the digital world. And this is Kenya also not being left behind. So this is a developing story. Let's see how it pans out. Right, funds to the rescue. We can see Rally Funds rescuing Frank Tundo and his navigator after their car rolled out during the first day of the 10th edition of East Africa Safari Classic Rally in Naivasha yesterday. Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed flagged off the event at the Kenya Wildlife Institute Service Park. And you can read the rest of the details also inside the Business Daily. Parastatus recovery saves states 72 billion shillings in foreign debt payment. Kenya has saved 72.3 billion shillings in foreign debt payments to countries such as China after parastatus resumed servicing loans earlier than projected in the wake of COVID-19 economic hardships. The Treasury has disclosed. You can follow the rest of the story there. It says that Public Debt Management Office at the Treasury says it has cut projected spending on foreign debt by 18.06% to 32, that is 328.13 billion shillings after some state-owned firms repaid some of the loans. You can follow the rest of the story on page 4. COVID exiles strike it rich after fleeing the capital. If COVID-19 had not happened, Isaac Hunja will perhaps still be working unhappily as a marketing and technology professionals in Nairobi. You can read the rest of the story of what really happened to him inside the BD Life. That is the weekend pullout inside the Business Daily today. And on Bostock there, looking at the flag there or the teaser, today they're focusing on the CEO of Crown Paints. All the details on page 3. Also Money News, Sports Spacer Boss. Karauri bets on a dirty game of politics. He's plunging. And of course he's running for the seat of Kasarani as MP. You can read the rest of his story on page 21. MPs probe oil tender system. Parliament has opened an inquiry into alleged dominance in the importation of petroleum products through the open tender system, that is OTC, following a public petition. Only about 13 out of the 90 oil marketers are said to participate. You can read the rest of the details there inside the Business Daily as well. All right, let's move on and to see what we have across the borders. I'll try and get the new times for you. We see how Rwanda is faring as well. And this is what you're waking up to on the front page of the New Times in Rwanda, holding this particular splash for you. Coming up shortly. And it is inside new eco-friendly, that is 2,200 units housing estate in Kigali. The price per unit will range between 16 million Rwandan francs and 35 million Rwandan francs. You have this story on page 3 of the New Times in Rwanda. This is Housing Rwanda, right? Just as we have affordable housing here in Kenya as well, Rwanda also is not left behind. And we can see some of the newly completed residential housing units in Bwiza Riverside Homes, eco-friendly estate project under construction in Karama. That is Karama Cell in Kigali sector in Nyarugenge district. This is yesterday. The first phase that comprises 245 units is set to be completed by end of 2022. Now, upon completion, all of 5 phases, the project will avail a total of 2,270 affordable housing units in Kigali. And COVID moving towards being an endemic, that is what the World Health Organization experts is saying, or she's saying, and we can read the rest of the story, or we'll give you the rest of the story much later in the course of the program this morning. Also featured, we have 1.9 billion Rwandan francs project boosting soil productivity in Rwanda. Read the rest of that story on page 5 of the New Times as well. Let's move on swiftly. We see what we have also on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. And I got also the Economist for you as well, and also the Harvard Business Review, that is the winter edition. And there is also a new publication by the Economic Intelligence Unit on Democracy Index that I'll be showing you much later as well, where Kenya is rated 94 out of 167 countries in the world as far as democracy is concerned. All the details also much later in the course of the program. But for now, let me just see what we have on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, just to give us a snippet of what is happening internationally as well and in the business world. This is what you're waking up to on the front page of the business, not the Wall Street Journal. Snowboarder, we can see that is a picture there of Lindsay Jacobellis, that is Jacobellis of the US, leading France's Chloe as she wins the women's snowboard cross final on Wednesday, giving the US its first gold medal at the Games. This is the Winter Olympics that they are ongoing in Beijing. And we have, this is SEC that is setting proposal to widen oversight of funds, private equity. Others will need to provide details on expenses, performance and fees. Regulators propose expansive new requirement for private investment funds as part of widening effort to police a rapidly growing but relatively opaque corner of the capital markets. And state begins to drop orders for masks in public settings. 9 states outlined plans this week to roll back requirements that people wear masks at indoor venues, including businesses, and in some cases schools, as COVID-19 case numbers decline and pressure to return to normal life rises. Officials in New York, Illinois, Massachusetts and Rhode Island said that rules requiring masks or proof of vaccination intended to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic will end by March. And as I've mentioned, also World Health Organization is also giving us a thumbs up as far as the control and containing of COVID-19 is concerned. Right, we're gravitating back to not the pandemic, but it being an endemic. This is the Wall Street Journal for you, right? Of course, given the time difference, this will be the latest, right? You can grab a copy for yourself. Let's move on to see what we have on other dailies as well. I'll try and whip up quickly for you what we do have on the front page of the Economist. We have the Entrepreneur as well. And this is the latest. It's all about the inflation. And right now in the US, inflation rate is at 40% the highest in US history. How high will the interest rates go? Right, this is before the publication or before they went to press, and the news that just came in that yes, now it stands at 40%. This is a record history in history. I mean, record beating, of course, in US history as far as the inflation rate is concerned. How high will interest rates go? This is how it looks, and also our French election focused model. That is from The Economist, also Joe Rogan, Spotify, and Free Speech. You can read the rest of the details there. Florida's latch to the right. Businesses battle for talent. That is another story that you want to read inside The Economist. This is the latest for you. It actually from the 5th to the 11th. So it's if you don't have a copy of that, make sure you grab a copy of The Economist. The Economist for you. Let's see what we have also on the front page of the Newsweek and also the Entrepreneur. Briefly, before we go to the news, and I'm looking forward to that particular discussion that also we'll be having with the panelists as well on the second Global Disability Summit that will be happening in Africa this time. The last one was held in London. That was in 2018. And of course, also in 2020, we had the pandemic. It never happened. And right now, it will be happening in 2022. And we'll get the rest of the details as far as that is concerned. This is the Newsweek for you. Is Germany still a US ally? That is a probing question. And of course, this is being caught in between Ukraine and Russia right now, where we can see Germany is not really going full throttle in terms of giving support to the NATO members as far as Russia is concerned and deployment of soldiers, because we had the new chancellor, that is Olaf Scholz, saying that they have strategic ambiguity as far as Ukraine is concerned, and all that they've deployed is helmets, right, to Ukraine in support of what is ongoing so far. A tinderbox waiting to explode. Maybe that will be another war that we can see. Even right now, Russia has heightened a lot of military equipment on the ground in Belarus that we've never seen in the longest time ever. And sometimes this is also sending some bugbears and fears in the world of what could happen. Is Germany still an US ally? That is a probing question. You can read the rest of the details inside the Newsweek. And also here you have Xi's Olympic game. The Chinese leader wants to emerge from the Beijing Games as dictator for life. Read the rest of the details inside the Newsweek as well. This is the latest copy for you. And as I mentioned, I'll show you also what the Economic Intelligence Unit is holding, and China is a primary focus of that particular publication. All right, let me just go there quickly. Maybe we can also get some details regarding what is happening so far as the Economic Intelligence Unit is concerned, and I give you a snippet of what they were talking about, just to tell you that even Kenya is not really faring well as far as democracy is concerned. This is it. It says this is a Democracy Index 2021. The China challenge is the primary focus. And this is how it looks, of course, with the China rising, where I can read just a bit of it, just to tell you what it is saying, and how they're coming up with this economic, or the democracy index, where they look at full democracies, also flawed democracies, hybrid regimes, and authoritarian regimes. And numbers of countries with full democracies there is 21, flawed democracies 53, hybrid regimes 34, and authoritarian regimes 59 out of we have all that really broken down for you. Because of time, I can't really read out all the rest of the details there. But I'll flip over to page 14 briefly, just to show you where Kenya is in terms of this rating, so that you can see how we're faring and who is above us, who is below us. And we talk, even as we're heading towards the general election, it's very important for us to know how we're faring as far as democracy is concerned. Here, this is page 14 of, let me try and zoom in. You can see there, that is Democracy Index 2021, Table 2. Yeah, it's just spilling out a bit. Kenya is here, if you can see my cursor here. Kenya. Tanzania is above us. Given that particular threshold, the overall score is from between, of course, 0 to 10, how they measure the democracy index, 9 being or 10 being the highest and 1 or 0 being the lowest. Kenya is at 5.0 or 5, and Tanzania is 5.10 above us. We have also Uganda down there at 4.48. So that is the latest. And you can read the rest of the details there on how also they're looking at China in terms of democracy. That is zilch in China. It's not really happening. It's all about authoritarianism right now, the rising of China. But in terms of economy, they've been able to surpass rising most of the leading superpowers, rising from abject poverty to where they are right now. You can read the rest of the details inside Democracy Index 2021, the latest copy. Let's go full steam ahead and see what we have quickly on other dailies, so that I can give you also a snippet of what is happening on the Entrepreneur or Harvard Business Review as well. Briefly, just bear with me. If you're a history buff as well, you want to grab a copy of the Majesty magazine. We know the Queen was celebrating the Platinum Jubilee, and this is how it looks. 1952-2022, the longest that we've ever had as a monarch there, the Queen being on the seat. And this has all the great details for you. And also, if you've been following The Crown, that is there, of course, the sitcom there. This might also be appealing to you as well. The quality royal magazine, that is called The Majesty, the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And we know from that particular development that was there over the weekend as well, that Camilla is poised to be, of course, also, she's never been recognized as, I forget the word, maybe when I remember then, it's eluding me right now, early in the morning, I'll give it to you, right? But this is the latest. You can read the rest of the details there inside The Majesty as well. Latest topic for you. What will we do without the dilettantics of cartoonists? Let's go back there quickly, and I show you what we have inside the Daily Nation and the Standard, and also the Star and the People Daily. And this is what Victor has drawn for you. You know the debate right now between ANC and we had Ford Kenya as Ford Kenya as not a silly, but Ford Kenya as it were right now, saying if they get to power, CBC will be a thing of the past. And this is really rattling the CS education. This is Magoha saying these people are dreaming. It can't just happen. But this still remains to be a very, very ticklish issue in the country here, as even the CBC is shaking into place. Plugging holes in there. We can see the relief there of teachers right now in terms of their training, that the government also will be stashing a lot of money to train them as well. That was not very clear. Most of them were expressing frustration that they've not been given the requisite training as far as CBC is concerned. But moving forward as well, you've seen the junior high and who will be teaching them as well. How will they gel? Of course, will it be in primary, in secondary school? A lot of questions hanging in the air. If they scrap it as well, and also revert to 844, if ANC comes or Ford Kenya and UDA comes to power, then what? Right? This has been the debate. And we know also the proponent who has been against CBC is none other than the former NAT Secretary General Wilson Sossion, who has been, stoutly saying CBC is not ready for this country. It's failed in other countries as well. Why are we going this way? Is the interest of some people from government also pushing this particular agenda? This is what he's been saying, and this is bound to be a developing story, hotly debated. It won't go down in the near future. Right, let's see what we have also inside the People Daily. What we have stand drawing for us this morning, just to give us, a feel and flavor of where the country is. This is where you can gauge also what the cartoonists are telling us as far as the mood of the country is. All right, this is what is actually drawn today. And this is Wanjigi saying, if you want to walk to State House, these shoes should never leave your feet. And this is all about Kenya being one tribe. Right now, we have this polarization that is happening, and you can see some of this are the presidential aspirants that, they are actually now going everywhere in the country trying to woo the voters to come to their side. My tribe is Kenya. Right, I'm not Kikuyu, I'm not Luo, I'm not Luya, I'm not Kamba. My tribe is Kenya. Very key right now as we're heading towards general election, and we as citizens should refuse to be, fractionated on these troubled fault lines, as it were. That is what we have. Stand drawing for us this morning. Let's see what we have also inside the Standard. I'll flip over there quickly. Since I don't have the soft copy, I'll just show you what we have in the Daily today. This is what Gado has drawn for us. Let me try and just put it on a single page so that you can have a clear visibility as well. Coming up shortly. Yes, this is what Gado has drawn for us. Deputy President is the probing question. Right, Deputy President, King Antoinette there, as is always depicted by Gado. That is a probing question. Does he have one? And we've seen so far the slugfest that has been developing between the president and the deputy president. Even on the campaign trail, you can see the verbal barbs that are being exchanged as far as even the projects are concerned, and of early campaignings are concerned as well. This is what Gado has drawn for us inside the Standard today. Those are your editorial cartoons. And I want to show you also what we have on the Taifa Leo. I didn't show you that. Wajanja wa siasa, Kagwe, Balala, Yatani, Munya na Wamalwa walitarajiwa kujiuzulu, lakini wakaamua kukaa. Yaebuka mawaziri 5 wanasiasa walikosa kujiuzulu kuwania vita Agosti 9, wakihofia kushindwa maeneo yao ama wakashawishiwa na Uhuru kukaa kwa ahadi ya vyeo Azimio ikishinda. Yeah, maybe they were given promissory notes because also CS Mutahi Kagwe was to run for gubernatorial seat in Nyeri. That has been shelved, and so also we know also Munya was looking forward also to run for, or to get back his seat also in Meru as well. And the rest of the CSs that have shown interest in some political seats as well, but now they're rowing back on that as well. All right. Okay, so we buckle down now to the stories of a day, of course, and we know, we can report that several cabinet secretaries are holding on to their faith that they will be considered, as I've just shown you, in the next government, as they seem not to be considering seeking elective posts. Several CSs reportedly were eyeing elective seats, but did not resign before the deadline. As KTN Political Affairs reporter Daniel Kariuki explains, sources have hinted that the CSs could retain their seats if the Azimio la Umoja coalition clinch from the government and continue with President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy projects. Listen in.
It has been the season of resignation for public servants. They have shifted their focus to matters politics. The cabinet having been affected by the resignations, and now President Uhuru Kenyatta will be facing a challenging task to fill positions vacated by several members of his cabinet as they begin their quest for elective seats. However, there are CSs who had indicated their readiness to leave and fight for political seats, but have remained in cabinet despite their influence politically in their areas, leaving questions as to what they may have been planning. Four of the cabinet secretaries, Treasury CS Ukuri Yatani, Transport CS James Masharia, Agriculture CS Peter Munya, and Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, had for a long time been hinted to be headed for resignation but have remained in their positions.
I will not be running for the position of Governor Omeru. Unga mkono candidate wa kiti ya gavana ambaye atakuwa anapigania muungano wa Azimio.
Nitagojea tu mpaka usiku wa manane tujue itakuwaje.
But why did they not resign? Reports have indicated that the CSs have opted to remain in the cabinet to oversee completion of President Uhuru Kenyatta's projects. However, sources have hinted that the CSs could be headed to the next government with the same positions they have been holding in the Jubilee regime. According to the Azimio la Umoja convention held at Kasarani, ODM leader Raila Odinga in his speech highlighted that the coalition will complete ongoing projects as well as continuity of executive members holding different positions in the government, perhaps signifying the cabinet secretaries that did not resign may remain in government.
Nikasema pia hata katika muungano huu tutasama yule ambaye ataweza kutekeleza matakwa na maendeleo, kuchangia maendeleo.
Hata hii kutoka Kenol mpaka Marua ilichora wakati yangu. Sawa? Uhuru sasa amejenga. Uhuru amejenga. Maana barabara mingi zile za maumau ambayo iko hapa naendelea. Na hakikishia nyinyi yale mradi yote Uhuru ameanza zitaendelea chini yangu.
Na ndipo tukisema ya kwamba we are interested in continuity. We are interested in continuity of programs like this. And we want to work with people who have that interest.
Questions remain on what will happen if Azimio does not clinch a win.
We will look at your ability, your desire and your commitment.
Those that have left the position despite huge wages are said to be seeking control of politics in their regions. Will the remaining CSs manage to be in the next government? The president is set to reshuffle the cabinet anytime as from Friday. Daniel Kariuki, KTN News.
Meanwhile, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i and his agriculture counterpart Peter Munya have told off Deputy President William Ruto and his allies over their sustained attacks on the Jubilee administration's performance. Speaking in Shiakariga, Tharaka Nithi County, where Matiang'i declared a new sub-county, the duo termed the political leaders as insincere, as they have been benefiting from the very government they are castigating. They have since called on Kenyans to ignore such leaders.
Hatuwezi kusema eti sasa serikali inafanya kazi lakini yale mambo mengine ni siasa. Unajua nchi yetu imekuwa with so many liars. Mambo ya siasa sasa imeanza kuingizwa, ni kama tunatoa license ya uongo. Tizeni watu waanze kutudanganya tu kila siku. So many lies. Hata nimwambia huyu ndugu yangu Murugara hapa wakati tulikuwa tunaongea hapa. Yeye na wale marafiki zake ambao ni watu wetu, wale ambao wanatembea nao ambao pia ni watu wetu wazuri, japokuwa wanatanganya sana. Tusiambie watu uongo. Tu lying around, kuweka sumu kwa wananchi, kujaribu kudivide wananchi, kudanganya watu, serikali haijafanya hii, hii haijafanyika and so on. Na wewe mwenyewe ndio una preside maneno, unaona vile hii iko, wewe ndio umeleta National Government CDF, umeona vile imetengeneza hapa. Sasa ni kazi gani serikali haijafanya? Tafadhali wananchi ninawaomba, kwa sababu tumefika kwa hii season. Mambo mengine you don't have to listen, because hata nyinyi mnaona ni uongo tu ama namna gani?
When you tell people, na watu wanajua na wanaona, unawaambia hakuna kazi inafanyika. Na saa hiyo unasema hivyo, wewe ndio umebeba hata pesa ya hiyo maendeleo ya serikali, ndio unapeleka cheki huku. Halafu unasema hakuna serikali inafanyika. Tunaweza kubali hiyo kweli?
Now, the launch of Azimio Women Movement saw top women leaders in the country, of course, defending the ODM leader Raila Odinga, who has been tagged state project, saying Raila he's actually the people's project. The caucus, which was led by Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu and her Nairobi counterpart Anne Kananu, saying the group will move across the country to campaign for the former Prime Minister, who is still on a 10-day tour out of the country. KTN's Emmanuel Tour has more on this.
Even in his absence, ODM leader Raila Odinga's campaign continued to gather momentum. Thursday, a women-led campaign engine dubbed Azimio Women Movement was launched in the capital.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
The brigade, which was led by Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu, promised to launch a vote hunt mission for the ODM leader who is seeking to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta.
We are pleased to announce that our movement has found a partner in a man who has stood with Kenyan women, our patron, and our presidential candidate, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga.
Our main agenda today is to speak in one voice and declare our total unwavering support to our presidential candidate, the fifth, Raila Amolo Odinga.
Baba hoy! Baba hoy!
The engagement also saw ex-water and sanitation CS Cecily Karaoke, who is gunning for Nyandarua County top job, joining in the fray.
We are calling upon the Inspector General of Police to ensure that our women leaders, our mothers seeking elective positions, me being one of them.
The women battalion, which was clad in blue berets, also took the opportunity to fire salvos at the Kenya Kwanza team that has been labeling the ODM chief as a state project.
Baba sio project ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Baba ni project yetu sisi wa kina mama wa Kenya.
Isn't it Raila who has come to help us as government project?
The moment he comes out as a party leader, we have those people who are loyal to the president, and there are thousands and millions. They are there.
The leaders also called for a level playing ground during the August 9th contest as they eye elective positions.
As women, we will go for all elective seats available, and like in the past, we used to shy away from some seats such as the gubernatorial seats.
Twende mashinani. If you go to mashinani, hata wakijaribu kukupanga saa 6 usiku, itakuwa ngumu sana. Na attitude ile tukue nayo, remain to be a woman.
Let us embrace the idea of friendly fire. We are in politics, but can we all accept that, for example, if I'm running for the seat of Women Rep Nairobi County, as I am running, my friend and good friend Esther Passaris, she calls me for a meeting. I will attend.
Let us not sexualize ourselves. We are not sex objects in campaigns.
This comes as the ODM chief continues with his trip in India. According to the press secretary for the Raila Odinga Presidential Campaign Secretariat, Denison Sarigo, the former premier is set to have a host of other engagements in India that will culminate in a meeting with the country's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday. The Azimio Women Movement has now promised to crisscross the country in search of votes and popularizing the Azimio La Umoja message as they also campaign for the ODM chief Raila Odinga. This comes with only 179 days to the next general election. Emmanuel To, KTN News, Nairobi.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So now elsewhere, the Kenya Kwanza Brigade now says the Azimio La Umoja presidential hopeful, Raila Odinga, will be a puppet president who will be controlled by the current Jubilee Party operatives. The team, which continued their onslaught on the Azimio opponents in Gusii land, told the residents not to trust any other coalition that doesn't have their interest at heart. Let's go. Skye has more.
Speaking during their tour of North Mugirango, West Mugirango and Kitutu Masaba constituencies in Nyamira County and later in Kisii County, accompanied by ANC party boss Musalia Mudavadi, Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula, and a host of other leaders. The DP said that some powerful individuals in the government were busy planning how to take over power using former Prime Minister Raila Odinga.
Mimi nataka niwaulize nyinyi watu wa Gesima, bila ya kuwa na kuonea mtu, nyinyi mkiona mzee akitendawili saa hii na hii shida mingi ya Kenya, anaweza kuendesha serikali saa hii? Amen, tuzambiane tu kweli. So wale wanasukuma mzee akitendawili, sio ya kwamba wanataka aongoze, wanajua hawezi kuongoza. So wao wanataka kuweka tu mzee akitendawili mbele kama sanamu. Alafu hawa watu wakae nyuma hapa waendeshe serikali tena. Nyinyi mtakubali mtu ambaye atachaguliwa aendeshe serikali?
Ameweka Tinga awe project, alafu hivi karibuni atatafuta deputy apatie Tinga awe project number 2. Sasa yeye abaki kule kama patron, awe anafanya remote control. Hebu sema remote control. Remote control. Yani azidi kuendesha mambo ya Kenya kupitia kwa hawa kwa njia ya nyuma. Mtakubali hayo?
Ili kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunaboresha maisha ya Mkenya na tunahakikisha project Raila to create a puppet government, to create a stooge of a president inashindwa.
The NC leader called on Kenyans not to be hoodwinked by appointments of cabinet secretaries and other senior civil servants to fill vacancies of those who resigned to contest for various seats.
Kipewa waziri saa hii ni lala salama. Hata ukipewa permanent secretary saa hii ni lala salama. Kwa sababu serikali ya Uhuru inakwisha tarehe 8 mwezi wa August. Sasa wewe ukiambiwa umekuwa waziri kwa miezi miwili mitatu, si hiyo ni chambo ya kukudanganya tu?
Tukiweka bilioni 50 kwa biashara ya hawa watu wote, iko makosa? Kwani mama mboga alipi ushuru? Kwani mtu ya bodaboda alipi ushuru? Kwani hawa wafanya biashara walipi ushuru? Watu wawache mchezo nani? Hii Kenya si ya watu wachache. Hii Kenya ni yetu sisi wote. Watu wawache kiburi na wache madharau, tujenge Kenya ya usawa.
We will not allow the president to succeed himself through Raila. Lazima muhakikishe.
They insisted that Kenya Kwanza Alliance was destined to take power in August and that the formation was already sending panic among their rivals. They said the alliance was a sign of great things to come, with many more leaders set to join them soon. Elvis Kosgei, KTN News.
Fantastic. Thank you, Elvis Kosgei. We want to take a short break right now, but also, I'll be remiss if I don't show you my guests who are already in studio here. We shall be having a very engaging discussion on the second Global Disability Summit that will be happening in Africa this time. The first one was in London, and we had a Kenyan delegation heading there, and also that was led by the immediate former High Commissioner, or British High Commissioner to Kenya, that is Nick Haley. So we have with us in studio here Collins and Rosaline. Collins Ombajo, he's a Diversity and Inclusion Officer, Action Network for the Disabled, that is Andy, and also Rosaline Pepela, she's head of programs, Young Women Christian Association. We shall be also, we are eagerly waiting for Moses Kamau to join us much later in the course of a program, Stuck Up in Traffic, and we can continue that particular discussion. So it's all about this particular summit. We'll hack back and see how was it then with the first summit in London. Some of the recommendations, well, they've steamrolled as we're heading towards, of course, the second one. COVID-19 happened in between, and of course that scuppered, of course, the process and the continuity or the sequence of having this particular summit. I'm really stoked to have this conversation and so are you, and I'll give you more also on the other side of a break on the international news. But just to say hi to Rosaline. Rosaline, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you and glad to be here.
Fantastic. You know, this is my small kiosk. We're talking Uji, Chai, Nduma, Collins.
Oh, no.
I will be serving you shortly.
You've spoiled us for a choice.
You're spoiled for choice.
But
Collins?
Porridge will be good.
Porridge in the morning.
Porridge in the morning. That's a hot one. Fantastic. We take a short break right now. We continue with more on the other side. You're watching The Morning Prime. Don't go away.